What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is a wonderful day. I mean, I'm looking out the window and the sun is shining. The birds are chirping. Mary and I were talking earlier today. We've seen robins. So, yes, the snow is melting. It looks like we finally made it out of the cold, wintry blah. But we do live in Michigan. It is still February. So, I have a feeling that we have at least one more little cold stretch here. But until then, we're going to enjoy this and welcome mud season. Welcome mud season, because that's what happens when all the snow melts. But that is not why we're here today. We are here today to talk about umbrellas. And yes, if you followed me for any amount of time, I'm a huge proponent of umbrellas. But you might be asking yourself, well, who are you? Well, my name is Ryan Turbo Jackson. I am your insurance resource. And in today's video, it's going to be our newest edition of Claims and Games, where we talk about, it's basically a quiz show. And I'm still trying to find some fancy quiz show music, but just a fun way to kind of get to know what policies are, what they cover, and why you might need one. So like I said, today we're going to be talking about umbrellas. And before we dive into this, we're going to talk about what an umbrella is, who needs it, what they actually cover, and just kind of give you a better idea and understanding of what these are. Now, I will say that there are different kinds of umbrella policies. There are personal umbrellas, which is kind of what we're going to talk about today. There's business umbrellas, and then there's farm umbrellas. And as you can imagine, each one of them protects different risks. You know, a business owner will have different risks than a farmer, and a farmer will have different risks than just a regular person. So, but today we're going to talk about, primarily a personal umbrella. So when it comes to protecting your finances, an umbrella policy can be a game changer. Like we've talked about in the past, these are relatively inexpensive for the coverages that they provide. But how much do you know about umbrellas? Well, let's dive into some umbrella trivia to see if you're up to speed. Question number 1. What is the primary purpose of an umbrella insurance policy? Words are hard. A, to cover home repairs after a storm. B, to provide extra liability coverage beyond standard policies. C, to replace lost or stolen personal items. Or D, to pay off your mortgage in case of disability. Now, if you've been following along for any amount of time, I think you know the answer to this is B, to provide extra liability coverage beyond standard policies. And umbrella insurance kicks in when your standard policy, your home, your auto, your dwelling fires, or your landlords, whichever kind of policies you have, reach their limits. Every policy has a liability limit, whether, like we've talked about on the auto policy, it's your bodily injury limits. On your home policy, it's just your limit of liability. If you're facing a costly lawsuit or a major liability claim, this extra layer of protection can save your assets. So if there is an exorbitant lawsuit or a decision that comes not in your favor, the liability limits on the individual policy will take place. Once it reaches its max, that's when the umbrella policy will kick in. So you don't have to pay for it out of pocket, which is huge, because any settlements can be multi-millions of dollars. And if you're not covered correctly, that'll come out of your pocket, which can and ultimately is life-changing. Question number 2. Which of the following is typically covered by an umbrella policy? A, damage to your own car in an accident. B, a lawsuit against you for slander or defamation. C, a home burglary. Or D, pet medical expenses. Now, this one can actually kind of have two answers, but I'll give you the more correct answer. Let's put it that way. The answer is B, a lawsuit against you for slander or defamation. Umbrella insurance extends your liability protection to cover legal expenses for defamation, bodily injury claims, and even certain personal lawsuits. It does not cover personal property damage or routine repairs. Now, one thing why I say this kind of could have two is I think with I know where some some of your brains might go is, what about the home burglary? Well, in this case, they're just talking about the theft. They're not talking about the actions that occur if you happen to find someone in the process of burglarizing. So if that was the case, then there would probably be a lawsuit, and this umbrella policy would indeed provide coverage for such an instance. But in this case, they're talking about just the actual theft, not the if you catch someone in the process of burglarizing your home. So I can see how that, some folks might say that is an answer. Question number 3. How much umbrella coverage do most insurance companies require as a minimum? A, 50,000, B, 100,000, C, 500,000, or D, 1 million? Now, before I give the answer, I want to kind of elaborate a little bit more on what they're trying to go for here. They're not asking what is the minimum liability coverage on the policies underneath the umbrella. What they're asking is, what is the minimum amount of coverage an umbrella policy provides? I think it's probably a better way of stating that question. And the answer is D, $1 million. Most umbrella policies start at $1 million in coverage. While this may sound like a lot, lawsuits and liability claims can escalate quickly. This added protection is especially valuable if you own property, have significant assets, or run a business. And depending on the company, you can have options of 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 billion. Excuse me. Now you might be saying, well, Brian, I honestly need more than 5 million. Well, I have companies that will do an excess umbrella, meaning we would do the first 5 million with the standard company, and then we would pursue any other additional coverage with a surplus line. So there are multiple different options here, but yes, they do start at $1 million. And like it says, you might think, well, $1 million, that sounds expensive. Because anything, you're not purchasing $1 million worth of a product. You're purchasing $1 million in coverage. And $1 million in liability coverage differs a lot when it comes to pricing as compared to like $1 million in home coverage or property coverage. Most of the time, these are fairly inexpensive. So don't be intimidated by that $1 million number. You're not purchasing $1 million worth of a product. You're purchasing $1 million worth of coverage. So kind of keep that in mind. Question number 4 is a true or false. An umbrella policy only covers incidents that happen in your home. And we've talked about this a little bit, but this is a great question that I'd really like to kind of bring home here. The answer is false. Umbrella policies provide worldwide coverage for liability claims, whether you're on vacation, at work, at a public event, or at a public event. Your umbrella policy follows you, and that's true with all of your liability, not just an umbrella policy. Your liability is worldwide, and if we happen to go to Mars, we'll probably extend to Mars too. But it is not something that just pertains to your home, your property, things of that nature. And kind of think about it this way. Your auto policy tends to be under the umbrella as well. So anywhere you drive your vehicle, you're going to have that extended liability coverage or the umbrella, because your auto policy travels with you, obviously, if you're driving said car. So kind of think about it that way. You're packing up your umbrella, throwing it in the trunk, and kind of going wherever you're driving. So kind of think about it that way. And lastly, which of the following people benefit most from an umbrella policy? A dog owner, B, a landlord, C, a frequent traveler, or D, all of the above. And obviously the correct answer is D. If you have assets, interact with people, or own property, you have liability risks. Dog bites, rental property issues, or travel-related liability can lead to costly lawsuits, And an umbrella policy adds that extra peace of mind. I get this question a lot because I like I stated, I'm a huge proponent of umbrella policies just because they tend to cover a whole lot more. They help protect against life-changing events. And like I said, they're relatively inexpensive. And people are like, well, because when you have children, children are an additional risk because let's face it, everybody's on social media and the whole not no bullying policies and everything. It is very common for parents to sue other parents for libel and slander because of what what their child posted about the other child on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. So that is a huge one. And what, especially here in Marcellus and the local surrounding areas here, we are surrounded by water, whether it be lakes, ponds, streams, rivers. And let's throw pools in there, because the closer you are to the water, the more liability or more risk that you have. Especially, and it's not so much what you do on the water, it's what other people do while you're on the water to help protect you. So that is one thing that I always try to hammer home. And for those of you that are interested, I do have a little flyer that I hand out that kind of goes a little bit more in depth as to what an umbrella policy actually is, who really needs one, and it actually provides real life claims examples. Like, these are actual paid out claims examples by, I believe it's auto owners in particular. So if you're interested in that, here is my contact. Just shoot me an email, rjackson@newellins.com, and I'll be more than happy to send that over. If you guys and gals have any further questions about umbrella policies, you can message me here on Facebook, leave a comment on this video, or here is the office number. Please feel free to reach out. Well, some final thoughts. Let me know how you did on our little quiz. Let me know in the comments. Did you get all 5 right? Did you get 4 right? Or do we really need to sit down and talk about what an umbrella policy is? And I would be happy to answer any and all of your questions. But if you ace this trivia, congratulations. You're ahead of the curve when it comes to understanding umbrella insurance. If you learned something new, now might be a great time to assess whether an umbrella policy is right for you. We're here to help you navigate the best coverage for your needs. Want to get a quote? I posted my contact here. Just reach out. That's part of our job is to protect you and your assets. And this is a policy that a lot of people really don't know are out there. And like I said, that $1 million normally throws people off, and they think it's going to be astronomical and completely out of their price range. So let me know if you guys and gals do want a quote. It's really, really easy. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. But as far as this Claims and Games edition, that we have come to an end, ladies and gentlemen. I will bid you adieu. I will see you next week. Get out and enjoy the weather, and I'll see you next time.